information and the knowledge that I have of how the investigation is progressing.
What? And that tells me, like I said it, when you heard it here first. Holy Billy Badass, he knows exactly who Brian Kohlberger is, because he would send his kid to school, meaning that they have eyes on Brian Kohlberger, meaning that they've matched up the IgG already, which would put it before November 29. Period. Because you wouldn't send your kid to the school unless you knew that. Period. Boom!
Hello, lovely people. Well, YouTube Oriani has done it again. She has unveiled a boom heard around the world. But don't take it from me. Listen to the woman herself.
Boom!
Because of the information and the knowledge that I have of how the investigation is progressing.
Y'all found his car because y'all already knew it was Brian Kohlberger because of the fucking IgG. And so I could put, like I said, the IG G before you found his car. You knew it was Brian Kohlberger on November 29th, didn't you? That's how you put shit together. Boom! Mike, drop that shit. Y'all are liars. Y'all are liars. Chanley, have me on.
Amazing, right? In case you didn't get it, she just blew us all away by proving what?
You knew it was Brian Kohlberger on November 29th, didn't you?
That the Idaho4 prosecutor knew things before the public did.
What?
Yes, that's right. This incredible true crime sleuth used that super sleuthing machine called Twitter, or X, to determine that the man gave an interview on or before November 29th saying that knowing what he knows, he would be comfortable sending his kids to the University of Idaho.
If you follow Twitter, okay, you would have to go all the way back to none other than November 29th, when she sits with Bill Thompson in his office and has this conversation. Nobody knew about a damn thing.
To Oriani, this proves to a histrionic degree that law enforcement used genetic genealogy to figure out who Brian Kohlberger was. And since Brian's defense is questioning the way genetic genealogy was used, this gives some sort of reasonable doubt for the defense of Brian Kohlberger.
Boom, take it on home, Ann Taylor. I just helped you out like you wouldn't believe.
Go ahead, Oriani. Run to court with that argument, all right? I'm sure you'll have much better luck than the real court cases you've lost. Go ahead. I'm sure that will play real well for the judges in Idaho. Now, in case you haven't figured it out yet, my opening here was dripping with sarcasm because there was no bombshell, folks. It was more like a pistachio shell. But this is how Oriani does. She has a documented history of using demented, anti-intellectual arguments to draw faulty conclusions that always end up throwing mud in the face of police, prosecutors, victims, and victims' families, and sometimes other YouTubers. Indeed, I have lost count of how many times this woman has used misinformative clickbait, future fakes, and salacious headlines to build her channel on the backs of the victim of the Idaho murders. What I just said is the answer to many, many questions I get in the comments of every video I've made about Lana Oriani. One of the dominant questions that comes up over and over again is, how can she still have a channel and build it up to over 40,000? After everything she's done to people? The answer to that question is this title, and this thumbnail, and this title, and saying there are bombshells, boom, where there are really only brief pistachio shell-like cracks. If you look at all the thumbnails and titles I put up there, ask yourselves, has any of this come true? Is it true that 1122 King Road is a cartel-connected drug house? Is it true that the girls in the Idaho house were sugar babies or that Xana Kernodle was a drug dealer? Is it true that Officer Payne, one of the responding officers, is corrupt to the point that she has to dox his home address? Is it true that Dylan, the surviving roommate, used to be a man? So much so that she entertains a interview with some imposter named Justin and then entertains it all the way through, gets him to confirm her thoughts, and then trashes him the next day? More importantly, does any of that matter? Will any of her pistachio shells and revelations change the course of the case? No. But they can do actual harm to the lives of the people going through the trauma as she is slandering them. But my God, does she sell it? She sells it so hard.
Boom! What? Period. Boom! Boom! That's how you put shit together. Boom! Mic drop that shit.
That she has her chat praising her godly powers. Which brings me to a different question I get a lot in my comment section. People ask me why her current supporters can't see what a shyster disaster of a person she is. I'm going to answer that question by telling you that YouTube makes it scary easy to create a closed universe of rabid supporters. Or at least it looks like they're all rabid supporters. If someone already has narcissistic or manipulative inclinations, YouTube gives them all the tools they need to curate an environment where it appears that everyone loves you and no one disagrees you. YouTube's attention-seeking algorithm picks up your histrionics, sends you the viewers based on its super detailed understanding of what those viewers like and how those viewers feel in the moment. And if the controlling channel owner wants you to believe that they can do no wrong, they have the ability to delete comments before anyone else sees them. I've recorded this happening in real time on the Truth and Transparency channel. This is a comment from a reporter asking for her response to allegations that the Watts family has accused her of forgery in connection with the Fight for a Family nonprofit. He's not being rude. He's just asking a question. And before she responds to the question, one of her very well-trained moderators has already deleted the message in chat. This happened at a time when her channel was much smaller and the chat didn't move as fast. But now that she has anywhere between 500 and 1,200 at a time in her chat, it's a lot harder for people to see the comments before one of her sharpshooter mods has deleted it. This is also a regular occurrence in the comment section below her videos and community posts. YouTube gives the channel owner and certain moderators the power to preview comments before they're posted. I'm not sure if that's how her channel is set up, but it's extremely rare to see a comment on her channel that even barely disagrees with her conclusions and arguments. If you want a more realistic idea of what the people outside of her channel think of Truth and Transparency, go to Reddit and do a search there. Go to the massive Idaho4 Facebook group and do a search there. Lana and her moderators don't have any control over what people on those platforms say, and their observations and sentiments are the polar opposite of what you see in the little YouTube bubble that she has curated for herself. So to answer the broader question of how can someone with such a scammy behavior have so much support, the short answer is that the only support she has is in a small corner of YouTube. She's a big fish in a very small pond. The pond may look big to her and her supporters, but keep in mind that there are 4 billion people on the internet. 40,000 is 0.001% of the actual potential audience. So when you combine the ability to get attention, which is all the algorithm wants, with the use of salacious, misleading headlines, along with the tools to make your chat and comments look overwhelmingly positive, it's exceedingly easy to leave people believing that you're some sort of god. Truly, there are people who will take that group-making ability on social media to make themselves into literal gods.
Has Christ come again? He's got the beard and the hair and, blue eyes, but yes, I'm suggesting that could I be the Christ?
If you don't believe me, I urge you to go watch the Escaping Twin Flames documentary on Netflix. It's a DOCU-SERIES. It just came out, and it perfectly outlines how easy it is to go from a casual online group member to a full-blown cult follower very slowly and very methodically without them knowing it. The only thing the documentary misses is the incredibly important and forceful role that social media plays in that whole dynamic by rewarding algorithmic attention to people who are willing to use coercive control and manipulation to make money. One of the most disingenuous but effective tactics that Oriani uses to draw attention is to future fake her followers. What's a future fake? It's when people make promises about the future and don't follow through with those promises. Oriani future fakes at every level of the spectrum. She future fakes breaking news by putting headlines saying something is breaking news when it isn't. She future fakes by saying things like, I'm buying a network where creators get 90% of the profit.
So you mentioned on a live that you were buying a network or part of a network, something like YouTube. Can you talk about that any?
Yeah, it should launch here in July. It's going to be it's a stream. It's a platform where we're able to do the same thing that we're doing right here. But everybody that comes under and is part of my true crime network, instead of you giving YouTube 45% of your stuff, you're going to get 90% of your stuff.
Never happened, of course. Want some more examples of future fake? How about the time she said she was being interviewed on Court TV? How about when she told her moderators that they were all going to get 10% of a major deal that was coming? But unless I've missed something, that never happened. How about the time she created a nonprofit and promised to get Chris Watts out of jail? That's a big promise, right?
The best part about it is you guys can see it all when Christopher gets his 35C and he's in trial. And then you guys can, I'll wave.
Never happened. How about all the times she schedules live streams that she never shows up to? How many times did she promise that Scott Roeder was going to be on the next show and he wasn't until maybe months later? And how about the time she said that she was going to open up all of the Fight for a Family nonprofits books to the public to put the accusations to rest once and for all? Never happened. If her supporters see that she is insulting her intelligence day after day, why do they keep supporting her? A couple polls I've done on my community wall help answer this question. In this poll, I asked people if my content ever made them say, I never thought about it that way. One of the answer choices at the bottom was, you're giving viewers too much credit for wanting to think at all. I was kind of surprised that this was the second most voted on answer. But it helped me have a better understanding of YouTube true crime viewers. The fact is that the vast majority of people who watch true crime are only watching for entertainment, maybe information, and they don't really want to think about how that quote unquote entertainment is harming the victims of crimes they care about. Here's another poll I did on my channel a number of months ago asking people why they watch true crime. The vast majority of people watch it for information purposes, not because they have any personal ties or experience as a victim themselves or because they're tied to a family. The fact is, they don't want to think about things. They're using YouTube to escape and not think. And channels like Truth and Transparency and many, many other channels take advantage of that to an alarming degree by creating a cult of personality around other people's traumas. If you're a true crime watcher and do it just for entertainment, I really urge you to understand something. It's one thing to just cover a true crime case and give the audience the facts. It's a whole other thing to repeatedly put out lies and bullshit about true crime cases and victims and families. That is not harmless entertainment. We are dealing with real people in the most horrific time in their lives. There's nothing wrong with consuming this entertainment, but please don't feed into harmful rhetoric by wholesale believing and sometimes spreading around and sometimes actually acting on the absolute lies and bullshit about real people who are going through real trauma in real time. I mean, if this woman is willing to future fake her audience so many times, do you think she's not willing to lie to you about the things that she just found out about these bombshells that she's just created in her own mind? One last thing. I can very easily predict how Oriani's strong supporters will respond to this video. They will say that I'm jealous. Gee, I wonder why.
Hi, Lynn. Hi, Lynn. I could talk about, I don't know,
probably changing a diaper, and 1,000 people would listen to me. Because that just chaps your ass right now, doesn't it? Hi, Lynn. Take care of your own grass. Don't come over here trying to piss on mine. Water your lawn, bee. Water your lawn.
Right? I honestly don't give a shit if you think I'm jealous. But let's say you're right. And I'm the most jealous, green with envy ninny in the entire universe. My alleged jealousy doesn't prove that she is in a clickbaiting, future-faking, nonprofit scamming fraud. And I've proven that in my videos over and over and over again. But let's also take a look at what I'm supposed to be jealous of, right? I'm supposed to be jealous of someone who's facing a criminal trial for revenge porn in a few days. I'm jealous of someone who has to manipulate people to get their love and support. I'm jealous of a woman who gets joy out of mocking Shanann Watts over the course of dozens of Shazam videos.
This is the start of Shiz right here. That was on the album cover.
I'm jealous of someone whose vile words seem to come right out of a 4chan sex perversion club.
Sit and motherfucking spin, you lying bitch. Bring up your tight fucking panty wannies up in this motherfucker. Now take your panties and fucking eat them. Take your panties, Lynn.
When called out, these
Sniff them.
some of
Oh, triggered? Lynn DeBris, take a shit in your fucking pants.
I've talked to Chris Watts. Have I ever asked to talk to Chris Watts? No. I was like, oh God, let me talk to Chris Watts. Get the fuck up out of here. If they let Christopher go to the bathroom when we're having our 35C stuff and I'm there, I'm totally gonna just like give him the best blowjob ever. I'm even gonna let him, like, he could stick his dick in my tits. Like, fuck yeah, I will let him titty fuck me.
And you can trust and believe that I am not jealous of a woman who was told by a judge that she's a stalker with an unhealthy fixation.
Ms. Oriani, I don't find your testimony credible. I found your testimony to be at many times incomprehensible and wandering, and that there is a definite fixation that you have on Ms. Walsh, and it's a very unhealthy fixation.
Would you feel jealous of any of those things? As I said earlier, Oriani is due in court to face criminal charges. Whether she was found guilty or not guilty, I'll report on that. And I can assure you, it won't be out of jealousy. It'll be for the reasons I continue to cover her, to warn people about her and people like her and the toxic YouTube system that encourages all of it. You can take all of that for what it's worth.
People can say that, oh, Lana treats people like shit. No, I treat you how you treat me. Always remember that.
Thanks for watching, and peace out.